Well, I'll be real quick, and please do stick around for Representative McElroy. The problem with what we're seeing here today is the ugly side of politics. Horse trading at the end of session for political favors for political partners on one rule, one party government at the expense of new workers, border communities, and careers in Minnesota. This is about jobs, hourly wage jobs. The focus should be on careers for Minnesotans, bringing back jobs to Minnesota. And this lies at the foot of the governor of this great state. If you were expressing your leadership, you wouldn't wait until the last minute. You wouldn't say that I signed the tax bill, didn't know it was in the tax bill, now we need to repeal them. You wouldn't say that I knew MNsure was going to be fantastic, even though you knew that there were problems with it up until days before the launch. You also would not sign a bill that a tax bill that included a provision for a $90 million office building that just last week got bigger for the politicians, decreased the parking for the public, and now allows politicians to have offices in two separate buildings. This is the part of politics that is really disgusting to most Minnesota voters. Now, the governor has said in the past that it is our fault for drawing a contrast or pointing out some of these conflicting opinions of his own. He berates you, he berates us, he says that he's just changing positions. Only when caught does he change a position. This building at the end of session like this, if there were this many problems, a real governor expressing real leadership would have said from the very beginning, don't put this in the bill. Don't put a $90 million palace to politicians into a tax bill. That's real leadership. Now calling foul at the end of session while the bill is literally on its way down from the reviser to be printed up and passed off the House floor because of one-party rule is the height of failed leadership. I think the governor should have done this last year. I think he should have done it on a number of issues, whether it's the mining that we recently saw, whether it was releasing a violent sex offender, whether it was unionizing daycare centers. This is a governor who is anti-middle class. I'm a middle-class dad. Kim and I are smack dab in the middle class. Public school teacher. We see what's happening to the middle class here. We're the ones being affected. Higher rates for Minnesotans and their insurance programs, and now a minimum wage increase that's going to cost college kids who are just out of college or still in college their job. If you talk to restaurant owners, and I'm sure Representative McElroy will talk about this, the people that they're claiming to help are the people that are going to lose their jobs. The experienced waiters and waitresses who've been there longer will keep their jobs. The people wanting to get started in this business will not. They won't get hired now because of this minimum wage increase. So this is, from top to bottom, failed leadership by our governor. Engage in this conversation, not at the last minute as the bill is coming to the House floor and say that you weren't involved. You did this last year. You do it at the start of your term, not waiting till the very end. Thanks. Any questions?
What would you do if you were governor?
I think anything that is right with federal conformity is within line. When we're out of whack with our bordering states, whether it's Wisconsin, Iowa, or the Dakotas. I don't know we'll ever get to as low as the Dakotas, but the point of the conversation isn't about the minimum wage. You open up the copper nickel mines and then spin off a copper processing plant, minimum wage jobs will be a foregone conclusion. We'll have high-paying, high-tech jobs in our state, not minimum wage jobs, and be fighting over a dollar an hour here or there, and we won't have our students who are getting their degrees leaving the state. So I think anything that takes us out of whack with our surrounding states, federal conformity is 750. I think that's where Wisconsin is. I don't think we should go anywhere above that.
So as governor, you would ask the legislature to rescind the increases on indexing?
Yes, indexing especially. That is probably one of the most dangerous things that you can do. Looking at surrounding states, none of them are going to do that. You look at where the job expansion is; they don't have indexing in their states. We're drilling, apparently. Again, this is at the foot of the governor. Legislative leaders will, between House and Senate, will trade bills back and forth, provisions back and forth. But if the building was such a bad idea this year, then it should have been last year. If the minimum wage was something that was going to be finished and so important for the people they claim to help, then why did they wait until this year? This is the ugly side of politics. Sadly, there's nothing we can do as legislators, but I would ask the public, if you don't like this, if you don't think we should build a $90 million building, if you don't think we should continue MNsure, something that was known to be a debacle, yet still the folks who ran it still got bonuses, call your legislator, call the governor, and tell them to lead instead of abdicating from behind. Thanks, folks.